I keep hearing stories about people splurging on a cheap, off-brand fish finder transducer, only to end up with a blank screen the first time they drop a line. The regret is real. Those budget units promise deepwater reads but deliver static noise or, worse, refuse to sync with the display you already have. That's why I wanted to see if the Garmin 010-123-8020 Xdcr feels like a smarter buy instead of another disappointment. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you're standing at the dock, fishing pole in hand, you start questioning whether the gear you've just installed will actually help you find the bite. The transducer is the heart of any sonar system. If it's off, the whole setup is useless. That hesitation is why many anglers spend extra time researching compatibility, mounting options, and the real-world performance of the unit before they click Add to Cart. Skipping that research often means you end up with a piece of hardware that either won't mount properly or won't talk to your existing Garmin chart plotter, forcing a return or a costly upgrade later. In the sonar world, the transducer is the part that sends out sound pulses and listens for echoes, translating them into the fish icons you see on the screen. It's not just a plug-and-play component, it needs to match the frequency range of your display, the type of water you're on, and the hull material of your boat. Most serious anglers know that a good transducer can mean the difference between a half hour of empty casts and a day full of trophy-sized catches. That's why the market is crowded with cheap universal units that claim to work everywhere, yet often fall short when the water gets choppy or when you're trying to scan deeper than 30 meters. Enter the Garmin 010-123-8020 Xdcr. It's a dedicated transducer designed to pair seamlessly with Garmin's own sonar displays, from the modest handheld models up to the larger chart plotters you'd find on a mid-size sport fishing boat. The biggest selling point isn't a flashy spec sheet, it's the promise that the hardware and the software will cooperate without you needing to tweak settings or fight compatibility warnings. In practice, that means when you hook up the cable, the device should appear on your screen within seconds, already calibrated for the best possible chirp ping rate your display supports. Who should consider this transducer? First, anyone who already owns a Garmin sonar display and wants a reliable upgrade or replacement. If you've been using the stock transducer that came with your unit and you've noticed dead zones or reduced depth accuracy, this is a logical next step. It's also a solid choice for anglers who fish in a variety of environments: freshwater lakes in the summer, brackish estuaries in the fall, and even offshore trips where you need consistent performance from the surface down to deeper layers. Because it's engineered for Garmin's ecosystem, you also get the benefit of built-in support for features like clear view and side view, which enhance target separation and provide a wider field of view without you buying extra accessories. On the flip side, you might want to skip this model if you're a casual weekend fisherman who only uses a basic fish finder a few times a year. The price point sits above the generic knockoffs, so if you're not planning to integrate it with a Garmin chart plotter or you don't need the high-resolution imaging that Garmin's software offers, you could get a decent enough readout from a cheaper alternative. Likewise, if your boat already has a non-Garmin transducer installed and you're happy with its performance, swapping to a Garmin unit would require you to also replace the display to reap the integration benefits and expense that might not make sense for a modest upgrade. In real-world use, the strengths of this transducer become apparent the moment you launch your boat and hit the water. The first thing I noticed was how quickly the depth readings stabilized. On a calm lake in early spring, the sonar traced the bottom contour with a smooth gradient, and the fish arches appeared crisp even at the edge of the 40-meter depth limit. Because the transducer is calibrated for Garmin's chirp technology, the ping spread was broad enough to pick up both small baitfish and larger game fish, which helped me target a school of walleye that I would have missed with a narrower band unit. Another scenario that puts this unit to the test is offshore fishing where the water is saltier and the boat is subject to more motion. While I don't have a full-size offshore rig to throw on,